everybody! How are you all doing? I'm absolutely fine here. Now friends, today's topic is not that happy or something like that, right? And today we are also not going to talk about any summit or something like that. But today we are going to talk about the child abuse which we know is happening throughout the world and women exploitation, right? How these things are going on in different countries. Alright friends, so let's talk in detail about it. Alright, so let's start. Now friends, a person needs to accept it that women exploitation and child abuse is a thing going on throughout the world. Countries are trying to stop it and have made different rules and regulations to stop all these things. Women exploitation, child abuse, these things are banned in every single country. But then also these things happen secretly. And sometimes these things are so gruesome. Yeah, they're totally gruesome, and the victims, like the lives of the victims are destroyed completely. Right, and the victims constantly feel ashamed of themselves, like angry and all of that bad stuff, right? Now friends, I think today we should start from Africa, right? So in countries like South Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, Algeria, etc., like there are separate big universities, but the girls going there are subject to harsh women exploitation by their professors. Yes, and there's also a documentary about this if you want to go and check it out, right? But yes, this thing is there and it's very, very gruesome, let me tell you that. Like, it's sex for grades, right? Women exploitation for grades, right? If you want the grades, alright, do it. Like, the teachers force the students, the girls, to do it, and in some universities there is a separate room for all that, and like that's completely gruesome, I think, really, right? And I think that totally devastates the lives of girls going there, and they have a feeling of ashamed, like they're ashamed of themselves after all those things, right? So, sex for grades is going on in Africa and it's truly, truly gruesome. Now friends, let me tell you what the teachers actually say. So, they say to different girls that, alright, you want grades, you can have them. And you know, in some places, for some teachers, if a girl studies properly, something like that, knows all the stuff, that doesn't matter at all. Right? That doesn't matter at all. If you won't do sex with them, right? Yeah, if you don't do that thing, I'll call it, right? You know what? If you don't do that thing, or if you don't do sex, then you see, you won't get marks. You'll get an F grade, and teachers know that students will do anything to get marks. Like even me, being a school student, marks are such an important thing. Yes, they're really, really important. And you know, I also feel like when my exams are going on, I have to get good marks and I have to maintain a good position. Alright. Yeah, so the teachers are actually exploiting this thing, right? The girls face very, very bad things there, and not only one university or not only in one country, but in many, many countries, as I told in the starting, like Ghana, Algeria, Nigeria, South Africa, and there are many more countries. Now friends, sex for grades is not the only thing going on in the world. Now, if we look a bit in the Middle East, like Iraq and then Iran and all these countries, so prostitution is clearly not allowed. Obviously, like women exploitation, child abuse is clearly not allowed. But there are some things known as temporary marriages. You know what? Temporary marriages mean, like, in in these countries there are two types of marriages: permanent marriages and temporary marriages. Permanent marriages, like normal marriages, which are there, like the husband and wife will live together forever, and permanent marriages we all know. But temporary marriages are something new to us. So temporary marriages are actually the marriages in which you will marry a girl for like a day or two, for like a week, for like a month. It completely depends on you, right? For how much time you want to marry her. But now people are starting to take advantages of those things, right? People are starting to take advantages of these temporary marriages. Like they are practicing this child abuse, women exploitation through these temporary marriages. Like they will marry a girl, like imagine if the girl is 15 and they will marry her for a day, and they will abuse her and just leave her off and just flee away and not have anything to do. Like that girl's life has been destroyed. And you know what? In these circumstances, people usually pick up girls who are in the age of like 11, 12, 13, and this age. So like they're extremely young for temporary marriages, and at that time, like they are subjected to all these things, and that is very gruesome for their lives. Not only for them, not only for the nation, but for also their lives, right? Like the thing of like shame, the feeling of shame, angerness will never ever leave them. They will always feel like a bit angry type like that, because of all the things they have gone through. And from such an early age, yes, 11, 12, 13, that is a very young age. Alright, now friends, these things are actually done in the Middle East countries, and let me also tell you that in the Middle East countries, like the people who do these temporary marriages also keep separate girls with them. Like if a person comes to them and asks like, I want to do a temporary marriage and find me a girl, they will just approach a girl like which they already have in reserve. Like if any person asks these types of things, and they will like submit the girl to him, right? And then he will just abuse him, and then off, like he's gone. The temporary marriage is over, right? So these people also keep separate girls in reserve, and whenever a person asks for a girl, then they say, alright, why not, we have a couple of girls, and then they start giving you options. Like they keep girls, right? They keep girls for this thing to earn money, and that is, as always, and it's completely obvious that it's completely bad for them. And now friends, let us also talk about the Europe a bit. Now in the Europe and in some other countries like America, so what people do is, like the popes of the cathedrals and then the father of the churches actually abuse the women, abuse the girls who come to the church. And I think that is completely awful and horrible. And if I talk about France alone, then around 216,000 girls were raped or were abused or were exploited by fathers and popes of different cathedrals and churches. So friends, this is completely bad, because people come to cathedrals and churches to pray, and then they receive all these things. It's completely gruesome. Yes, and you need to accept it. Now friends, let's talk a bit about India also. Now friends, India, prostitution is illegal, of course it's illegal, but these things happen secretly. Now you see, in some states in India and in some places throughout the world, you see, if you're living on rent, a woman is living on rent, then they will ask her, and the landlord will ask her to do sex with him to pay the rent. And that is completely bad. Like sex for rent, like as it was sex for grace in Africa, then now it's sex for rent. Like there's sex for mostly everything here. Like sex, these things are done in churches, in universities, and for rent, right? So that is really, really bad. And these things are done in different areas, and sometimes these things are done, like some temporary marriages are done in India as well, in India, and sometimes even China, in these countries, right? So I think all this is pretty bad. And in Europe, if we talk about especially, then Romania, I think, is really struck with this crisis of women exploitation. Like there are so many prostitutes there in Romania, so many of them. There are so many human traffickers there, and it's just completely bad and awful. Now I think that this is something that needed to be addressed, and it's completely a very important topic to talk about, and this is a major flaw in our society, in the human society right now. So I think then that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed the video, and now I'm going to see you next time, alright? And I hope the girls who are victims of such things come out of these things, right? There are different organizations also which help them, but not all of them can be helped at every time, right? So that's it. As I said, hope you enjoy the video, and now I'm going to see you next time, alright? So don't forget to share, like, and subscribe, and tap the bell icon also. And now I'm going to see you next time. Bye!